Hey everyone, this is Corinne Lafoy, your favorite radio host, your only radio host and favorite girl, of course, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago on Between the Lines. And you know, I always start my show off with gratitude, thankfulness, and I'm thankful to be here. You know, you would have heard me earlier today on another episode, and now I'm here again in the afternoon, and the weather is still the same. Beautiful, bright, sunny, and warm. Yay! I think it's a little bit warmer now than this morning, but I'm happy either way. I'm not complaining. I'm still glad to be here at this time of the day. I was here earlier this morning and I'm here now. So I am thankful to still be around at this time of the day. Yeah? So I have a handsome man with me. I tell you, I have, listen to me, handsome men. If you're looking for handsome men, come on Between the Lines. Now, the thing about it, they are all married. That's the thing about it. They're all married. So if you're looking, you're just coming to look. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else. I think I'll have to broadcast a new ad or something saying single men only for my show. So that when the ladies come checking out the shows, they can say, oh, potential, potential. So I have Tom Corner here. He's blushing. He can't help himself.
I am.
Tom Corner. Yes, Tom Corner is on a personal mission to improve himself as a father. Oh my God, he really needs to help all these other men. He's on a personal mission to improve himself as a father, husband, colleague, and member of the community. His dream is to help people of all ages find their path in life. He has welcomed success into his life in pursuit of his dreams and desires of attracting love, laughter, and abundance into his life, and he's going to be telling us how to do the same. And the topic for today's episode is life is fine when you are aligned. I actually changed it about a bit. I said life is actually perfect when you are aligned. And we're going to find out what alignment means and why would you need to be aligned. Probably you didn't know that you were not aligned. Sounds like a car. You need to align your car. You need to align this or that. But you don't think that you need to align your life. Nobody thinks of that, or people are not thinking that. And why is it perfect or fine when it's aligned? So Tom, welcome to Between the Lines.
Great to be here, Corinne. Thank you. Very nice introduction.
Thank you. I do my best. So it's great to have you. It's great to have you, Tom. So life is fine / perfect when you're aligned. I just lost you there. Okay, great. You came back on. Good, good. We can't have you.
There we go.
No, we can't be talking
We're fine.
without seeing you. Right? The handsomeness does go with the show. Okay. So that's part of your children's book series, I think. I saw that on your website.
Yes, it
Now,
is. So
yeah.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So life is fine when you're aligned is the third children's book in my series featuring the main character, Kylie, who's based off of my daughters, myself, and really is could be based off of anyone. And it's just really life lessons on how to live an aligned life.
But that's such a young age. When you talk of alignment, it's normally when people are an adult. You're starting pretty early to talk about alignment in children.
Yeah, that's the perfect time to start.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I'm really surprised because normally people don't know. Well, I mean, I'm sure when most people listen to this, they'll be like alignment, just like I said in the introduction, they would align their car, they would align everything else,
Yes.
The wheels of their car, everything else would need alignment, but they don't think that their life or they need to be aligned. And aligned to what, really?
Right.
Aligned to what? And for you to bring it up at a young age with your daughter and your relationship or with any parent and their child or a young person, I mean, that's really commendable because people normally get that in their 40s or probably 50s or something, not that early.
That's it. Yeah. And you're spot on. And I wrote the children's books because I wanted to help my daughters find happiness and find their path in life 3-4 decades before I did. And
whoa, 3-4 decades. You're giving them a
yeah.
head start. Yeah.
right, given a head start, and I wrote the first book. And I remember being interviewed, and somebody asked me how long it took me to write the first children's book, and at the time I said, well, over 40 years. It took me over 40 years to write it. I mean, in reality, it took a couple of years, but it was over a lifetime. And
Yeah.
and the first one was just about setting goals and being aware that you can change them. And we typically most people typically write their first list of goals in their life at a young age when they're planning for the holidays. So it's based around Christmas, which many people celebrate. It doesn't have to be Christmas, but this little girl, Kylie, writes her Christmas list, and it teaches children the idea of visualizing, writing your goals down, but also to think about things she wanted for other people. And then the holiday comes around and the gifts arrive, but she continues her list for life.
Nice.
And it's about, okay, well, that's just like business planning. That's just like goal setting. And if you start at a young age and understand that, it will result in amazing things. And then the follow-up book was Positive Thoughts, Positive Life, and that's just about affirmations.
Yeah. Wow. How many?
And they're really for adults too. It's an adult.
Well, I would hope so. I would hope so.
Yes.
How many children do you have, Tom?
I have 3.
And they're all girls? Wow.
Yes.
So you're surrounded by women, your wife and 3 girls.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
Right. Okay. Don't show off there now, Tom. So you're surrounded by
It's all they're great.
I know they're great. That's a great position to be in. And so when I mentioned in your bio that you're on a mission to be a better father, husband, the different roles that you have in your life, I think that's commendable. Yes. Most people, and I wouldn't gender base it, I mean it's both male and female, don't really consider working on themselves to be a better anything except probably a better worker, a better employee. You would hear that.
Yes.
But in terms of a personal mission, not even a goal, I think the word mission gives it more of a purpose with intention. They don't think about working on themselves. Like, I want to be a better person. Just a simple thing as that. I want to be a better person. What does that mean to you to be a better person? It may mean I want to be able to give more. I want to be able to give a compliment to somebody once a day. It could be as simple thing as that. By you having the goal or the mission of saying, I want to be a better person. I want to be able to tell someone good morning and smile, genuinely smile. Simple things like that. But for you to say you want to be a better father, husband, community member, that is significant. It means to say you're working on a higher self. You're looking you're seeking a better version of yourself.
I am.
And challenging.
Definitely.
Yeah. Tell us about that. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah. Thank you. It is a journey, and it's as difficult as you want to make it, and I make it difficult at times, but it's amazing. And so at the time, my books are all really about life lessons. So the time I published Life is Fine When You're Aligned in March of 2017, at the same time I published a memoir honoring my wife's triumph over stage 4 non-Hodgkin lymphoma back in 2004. And she's amazing. And based on what she went through when she went through her chemotherapy, us having kids was a very remote possibility because the treatments she went through devastate your body and could create infertility, early onset menopause, and many other side effects. So the fact that we had our first daughter was a miracle. Now we have 3 is just
3. Oh
yeah. So I wrote the book, Mommy, Why Do You Have 2 Birthdays? From a place of love, because you could be very angry about having cancer or an illness. And I believe that a lot of our disease or illness is because of being misaligned
Yes.
with our energy and our thoughts and other things. It's not the only thing, but it's a big contributor.
I agree.
And so I wrote the book, Mommy, Why Do You Have Two Birthdays, to honor her and the thousands of girls and women and boys and men who've been affected by it, because you're kind of ignorant to it until it affects you personally. Then you see so many people affected by it. And I wrote it so that people know they can ask questions and they can challenge an opinion from a place of love to find the answer, because we had to. It was, our life was awesome, and then all of a sudden they said you have stage 4, and we went from doctor to doctor, and they said no, there's not much we can do. No, until we found the right doctor.
Yeah. And
it's been pretty amazing, because I also published it, Corinne, because I was fearful. My wife at the time, we had a television interview locally here in Philadelphia, and she said, what am I going to say to them when they come in? I said, just tell them what happened. They'll just ask you what happened. And she said, well, I told myself I knew I wasn't going to die. And I said, well, then the interview's over. That's it. Like, she had the belief.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? And so it's about belief, and it's about positive mental mindset as well as physical. So the children's books leading into that is all about becoming better, being better every day. But then I just published my personal memoir, because I carried a lot of anger with me for a long, long time. So my memoir, yeah, and
you don't look it. I was just about to ask you, which planet were you born on? Because you you couldn't be born on planet Earth with all these other men. I mean, I'm not bashing men, but when I'm looking around, I'm not seeing men taking that sort of personal self-transformation, looking within and taking accountability and responsibility for who they are and the impact that they're having on other people's lives. I mean, doing that sort of introspection, I'm not seeing that. So I'm listening to you and I'm saying to myself, where did this man come from? When did you come from? I mean, and because that takes a sort of, I'm trying to come up with the words. That takes a sort of, the words just made me. It takes a sort of person that is willing to admit to themselves something is off. I need, something is broken within me.
Yes.
I could be better. It's like a surrendering, but it's also a vulnerability. That's the word I want to look for.
Exactly.
Vulnerability. You're willing to be vulnerable.
I'm in a very vulnerable place.
Yes. People are not willing to be vulnerable. They are going to close up, put up those walls, those barriers, defensiveness to protect, the ego steps up and say, no, that's not me you're talking about, that's not me. And they will make excuses and cover. And I'm listening to you and I'm hearing so much vulnerability, especially when you said you want an angry man. I would never, not that you could tell, you can't tell somebody just by watching them that they're angry unless they do something. So for you to say that, that's really, 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 I'm glad to hear that.
Well, thank you, Corinne. Well, it's hard because I knew it, like, just in how I reacted. And what happens is that if you carry it and you let it out, people criticize you for it. And if you don't know why you're angry, then you just carry it with you. And it like I said, it hasn't been easy. But my wife grounds me, but at the same time, she wants to wring my neck because I needed to find out why I'm here. And I get emotional, but I'm okay with that.
Emotional. This is my show. Get emotional.
So I published my memoir. I published her memoir, and I realized it was for me. The more I talked to people about it, the more I needed to make peace with her cancer that she doesn't have. It's not even hers. But I had to be able to face that fear. And so for my entire life, I built up a wonderful career, but I carried this anger, and most of us, and I was watching Wayne Dyer before we dialed in for this, but most of us live our life and I capture this in my book, in the shadow of fear. We do things out of fear. So about being better, even if I want to be better, and I would do something and I'd be nice and do something. What happens, Corrine, is if you have expectations attached to you being better, you're in trouble, right? So if I buy someone a cup of coffee, or I say hello to them, most people expect something in return. And if they don't get it, or if it's not what they had in their mind, then they get mad, right? You can't have an expectation. And so in writing my book, I realized that I was living my life up to the expectations of everyone else. And so being better, first of all, a lot of people just kind of go through the steps of life and thinking that's it. I don't want to make it as simple as this, but I'm born, I go to school, I fall in love, maybe I get married, and I have a family, and I have a career, and I retire, and that's it. To me, I wanted to understand why. Like, I don't understand why. It doesn't make sense. And so now that's where my wife wants to wring my neck, because I do things that are not the norm. I have to figure it out. And I realize I create this struggle in my life that I don't need to. And so it's all about perspective, right? Perspective. So I read a line, pain is a wrong perspective, right? So if I feel pain, emotional, physical, or I'm angry at the world, it's my perspective.
Of course.
And so so there's your perspective and your expectations. So you have to be willing to want to be better, but don't have expectations of getting it in return. Because if you do, you're going to set yourself up for disappointment.
That's right. And hurt and pain. And I want to interject here, because you talk about expectations. I want to add in an attachments as well. People are attached to the outcome. People are attached to other people. People are attached to things. If you have no attachment, it's the same as expectation. If you have no attachment, then it doesn't matter to you how they react if you get something in return, because you're not attached. You are doing something with the intention of just doing it. You don't want anything in return. And that person who is doing something for you must also do the same. But it may not be reciprocal as that. You may let go of the attachment, but that person may not. You have to tell them, hey, you're off the hook. There's nothing, don't feel that I need to be able to do something for you. And if I ask a friend to do something, especially if I'm friends with someone for a very long time, because you will only reach out to somebody who's very close to you for a special favor. I would say, first thing I say to my friend is, if this is going to impact our relationship, don't do it. If this is going to change our relationship, I don't want it. Keep it.
Right.
I'm not going to compromise the years of love, the ups and downs. I am not going to compromise my relationship with you for that thing I'm asking you for. And especially if it may be money I may be borrowing or something like that, because money can be the one thing that can really sever a relationship. I make it very, very clear. If I'm borrowing money from anybody, I'm like, if this is going to come between us, do not give it to me. I say it very plain and straight, because I value the relationship much more than the money. Money.
Point.
Yeah, I value it. And so, so attachments and expectations, and aligning yourself. And I want to come back to the point of aligning to what? Because when you take your vehicle into wherever, the garage, and they align your wheels, it's straightened up, it's fixed it so that it could run smooth on the road, it's not wobbly, whatever it may be. But I guess it may be the same for us in life. We don't want to be wobbly. We want to be so aligned, but aligned to what? That we're on a particular vibration and frequency, energetic
Yes.
field that allows us to tap in that whatever life, or like for me, the universe um, decides to bring towards us, it comes to us because we are aligned with it. If you're on the
Yes.
wrong frequency, you're not going to hear or pick up or attract those type of things into your life. I want you to talk about that in terms
Yes.
of your own journey, because in the bio I mentioned about you attracted abundance, a more balanced life kind of thing. How did that happen for you? How did that manifest for you? And what did you have to do?
Well, and this is the interesting thing. So there's a line, um, gradually then suddenly, which is captured in a book, Fierce Conversations, which was captured from the book The Sun Also Rises. But everything happens gradually then suddenly.
Gradually,
I'm
then
not
suddenly.
right.
Why?
I mean, meaning
Why does
we're
it
always
gradually
we're always learning.
do that? Why does it do that? Gradually, then suddenly.
Everybody looks. I'm not there yet. I'm still working on it. Right. So but I had a limiting belief system. So you talk about energy
Mm-hmm.
and fear and anger. And I've because I so yeah. Oh man, you're talking about a lot of people that I follow, like Abraham Hicks and
Oh
Wayne
yeah.
Dyer and
Oh
Louise
yeah.
Hay
We
and
follow the
Marianne
same
Williamson,
people.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So most people aren't aware of that, right? And they just kind of, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's so that you can just go through the motions of life and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And
Just
for
just
me,
go with the flow. Yeah.
I had to make sense of it. I had to understand because my anger was my fuel for that. And now it's funny. I have to answer your question, but like I talk about my latest book, my memoir, and I can't talk about it because it's kind of like I'm tired of talking about it. And, and it's something in the past. And I'm like, that
That's
was
over.
different time. It's fascinating, but it's because of gradually over 20 years or so of listening to Wayne Dyer in my car, listening to Jim Rohn, who's
Yes.
a motivational business speaker, listening to all these people, and it never clicked with me, Corinne. I never understood it, and I would be frustrated. And then so what happened was I have a life coach, right? And people say, why do you have a life coach? And if you want to get better at life, get a coach. If you want to be a great athlete, get a coach. If
Get a
you want
coach.
to
Yeah.
get a teacher. And people just look at you like, why? And why not? And I've always, there's so many things we're talking about. You talk about vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
This is a societal thing, at least in the United States, and especially with men.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I sit down with people and talk to them about what they're going through. I believed I had to do everything myself in my life.
Yeah.
Because if I asked for help, it made me weak. And that's the biggest lie
Oh yeah.
ever. Right. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was interviewed and he said, people always say to me, you're a self-made success. You're a self-made superstar. And he says, no, I'm not. I said, I rode on the shoulders of giants to become who I am. And so I was living under the false belief that, number one, if I ask for help, I'm weak. And I was afraid. I still catch myself doing that, being afraid, because it means you're stupid. You don't know enough. You're not good enough.
Oh, wow.
Right. And then the ability, because if I tell you that I want to cry or I'm sad, and especially a guy, you can't do that. You can't do that. And that's so I will in a way answer your question, but for me it took a while, a coach, and then I started meditating, and then I started immersing myself in A Course in Miracles, which Wayne Dyer and
David Hoffmeister, I love them.
so it really and oh my gosh, I see the world so differently. So I'm in the middle of this right now because it really just gradually happened. Now suddenly I'm in the middle of this shift, and it's very as Abraham would say, or Esther, I'm
Yeah.
creating a lot of orneriness.
Yeah.
So my energy, but it's fascinating. So when
I
I
love it.
published my book, I mean, had a I had a breakdown,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I open in the second chapter of my book, I and I look back at it, I'm like, oh gosh, what an idiot. Like my perspective was wrong. I
But that's
was
okay.
angry, right?
That,
And I worked out of fear because I
mm.
had to, or someone's going to get me or take my job, or I'm not going to have enough. And it's the
Oh,
worst way
wow.
to live your life. And
Mm-hmm.
most people do it. They just don't know it.
Yeah.
And they think it's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so I got to a point where I had a breakdown, and I told myself, this was 2015, December, January 2016.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got to find a different way, find a
Mm.
different path.
Yeah.
And I started the shift, but I got to a point where I said, well, a life of anger is not a life worth living.
No. No.
Right. So I had to make a decision.
Yeah.
I ended my life, either
Mm-hmm.
physically or I decided to go and turn around and be vulnerable and love. And
Yeah.
that's where people say, well, if you love,
Mm-hmm.
if you hug and accept people, you're weak. That's your
No.
strength.
That's your
It's your
strength.
strength.
That's your strength. Believe me, love is the way to
Right.
go. Love is the way to go,
It
Tom.
is.
And what
And
you're talking about is the
yeah,
ego. You see, we have been
totally.
programmed. We have been programmed from childhood, you know, to feed the ego, to look for external validation, to prove ourselves to people outside. And so we don't know who we are. But there's a little
Yes.
voice that's inside of you that would stay quiet for the time. It would stay quiet for the time because it remains dormant. But there comes a point in your life when that voice, that inner voice, starts screaming. It starts
Yeah.
talking to you. It's like, knock, knock, I'm here. And you're like, what? Who's that? Who's what? and you start, and you realize it's your inner child. It's you that
Yes.
has been living there, but just dormant, staying still. Is not dead, and it will never die. You know, because
Yes.
that's what people call your intuition, your inner being, your soul. You know, they will have different terms for it, but that is what is keeping you. And we have to be able to separate, uh, the ego versus the inner child,
Yes.
right? We have to be able to separate that. And it takes a while because just like I said to other persons on my show, you don't have a comparison. You don't have a reference. You were born into a family, born into a situation. That's all you
Right.
knew. Is not to say that you came out with 2 manuals or 3 manuals and you're like,
Exactly.
oh, this is not going to work. I want this. This is what I want. Okay, I'm going to go this way. This is a better way. You don't have a manual. You just
Nope.
came out. You just came out and you are the mercy of the parents or whoever you were born to or wherever you were born. So you
Yes.
don't have a reference. As you become exposed, you go to school, you look at other people, you start working, you travel. You're like, wait a minute, these things happen.
Yes.
Your soul starts talking to you. You start questioning. You start asking yourself. You're like, wait, there must be more to life than this. You
Yes.
know, yeah.
Yes. And I tell my life coach, the Buddhist saying, chop wood, carry water, enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. And every time I say that, years ago, I would say that's stupid. That is the dumbest. That's just the stupid. How can you be enlightened and then work? And then eventually, and I would always say it, I'm like, okay, my perspective has changed because my perspective was just so wrong.
Yeah.
You work and that's it. That's your identity is work.
Mm-hmm.
And how can you be enlightened if your identity is work?
No.
And a lot of people fall for that. And then
Oh.
and especially if you're working out of fear and you're not really, and again, most college graduates, there's like a fourth of them or a third, maybe a quarter of them that actually stay in the major that they study because it's expectations and it's not knowing how to kind of break out of it, but it's so yeah, it's fascinating. I lost my train of thought there, but
That's all right. But it's a,
but
I want
like
to help you. I
but
want to help you along. It's a painful journey,
it is,
and
and it
you
shouldn't
mentioned
be.
it is. And without pain, you would not learn. You have to go through the
True.
pain. Yeah, you have to go through the pain, and that's where the fear comes into. And of course, the ego is built on fear, and vice
Right.
versa. And so it will do whatever it takes to protect itself from, or protect you. It thinks it's protecting you from going through
It
that.
does.
Yes, it
Right.
thinks it's protecting you, but in what it does is keeping you in that comfort zone and not allowing you to grow, because the ego does
Yeah.
have a role, but when you become awake and you become conscious and you become more enlightened and you allow yourself to
Yes.
feel, to experience a spiritual journey, to go within, to start finding out what is causing me to be so fearful, my anger, and you go back into your childhood, because that's where it all
That's
starts.
what I did. Yep.
Yeah, that's why you're gonna cry. That's why you're gonna be
That's
bawling.
it.
Yeah, I cry every day, almost every day. I think I didn't cry today and I didn't cry yesterday, but
but you're right. That's it. And it's the expectations part. And you're right. So Wayne Dyer was just talking about on one of his videos I was watching about when he went back to his father's grave, and he was
Mhm,
so mad, he was so angry, and he
mhm,
left, and he turned around, something called him back, and he forgave him.
mhm,
Because so my book, Borrowed Eyes and Feet, Finding Enlightenment After Rage, is in chronological order my year of enlightenment, which was 2016, and
mhm,
the things that happened, but how I reflect on my past, because I was so angry, and I realized one day, I'm angry. A lot of times I was angry because I was that little child who was helpless, because I boiled it down to my parents being divorced when I was a young child, and
mhm.
it and I'm not blaming them, but it's a reality. So the
Yes,
subconscious has
yes,
to survive.
yes.
And I was just talking to my mother this week. I said, and she's amazing, and she just didn't understand, which I get. But my subconscious felt I was abandoned. So I approached the world that way, my career that
Yes,
way. I approached
yes,
people that way.
yes.
And always I had the wall up, because I know my
Mhm.
subconscious saying, you're going to be abandoned. So you've
Yes.
got to really, you can be nice, but don't let people in, because they're going to abandon you. And
Yeah, yeah.
and most people don't realize
They
their path
don't.
in life, what
No.
they do things over and over again.
Yeah,
It's
same
because of
habit.
that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and yes, and so that's the expectation. So my parents did their best, and now I understand. And
Mm,
my stepfather, I love him and I forgive him. I
mm,
didn't understand, and
mm.
he treated me the way he did because his father treated him
Put
that
it in
way,
that way. Yeah.
right? So if you look at that,
Mm,
oh, okay,
mhm.
I don't need to carry the blame or the guilt.
Yeah, the
If
guilt
I
or the shame.
understand and
Or the
forgive and
shame.
can love you, then
Mm,
yes.
yeah.
And that's a big deal. And for
Yeah.
me, it was big. And so what and the awareness, like you said, Corrine,
Mm-hmm.
I still get these thoughts that come up, and
Of course.
I relate it to people, especially youngsters. I say, have you ever been in a mosh pit at a rock concert? And a lot of kids have.
Mm-hmm.
A mosh pit at a rock concert is a violent place. There's where people are on the ground and they're in a circle and they're just running back and forth and they're beating each other up. They're bouncing off of
Wow.
one another. It's really weird. And I've been in them. And so I say, well, if you don't pay attention
Mm-hmm.
and you're not aware, you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to be able to change. But
Mm-hmm.
if you understand that your mind processes 50,000 to 70,000 or so thoughts a day,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all negative and they're all
Yeah.
self-sabotaging or
Charging. Yeah.
hateful,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then people say, well, look in the mirror and say, I love you and I'm proud of you. And people laugh at that when you say that because they're
No.
afraid. But
Mm-mm.
when you do it, and
Mm-hmm.
most people give up because it doesn't work, because if 3/4 of my thoughts are negative and I start throwing positive ones in there, the negative ones are going to stomp them out and they're going
Yeah.
to overwhelm. It's just like a
Repetition.
disease. It's like,
You have to
right.
repeat. You have to keep repeating those positive affirmations, and you have to believe. You
Yes.
have to emotionally attach. It's a
So that's
work.
the gradually then
Yes.
suddenly. So yes, go ahead.
It's a
Yep.
work in progress. It never ends. It never ends. And those triggers that keep coming back, that's what you call them, the triggers, they would keep coming back because it's the ego reminding you, playing back that tape in your head, you
Yeah.
know, trying to make you go back to where you were. And you have to stomp that voice out and say, hell no, you're not speaking to me, not today. No,
Yes.
not
Yep.
today, not today. So it's a work in progress. And the good
Always.
thing about it, the good thing about it, Tom, is that you have recognized it. You are aware of how it has been impacting you, your wife, your children, the people around you, your business interactions. You are aware. And that's all I'm asking people to do, in my
Yes.
show and when I interact with people. And they see it in me when I'm out. They see it and they tell me. I don't even have to ask people. They come up to me and they say, you're just so bubbly, you're just so bright. There's a light. There's a, and I'm
Right.
like, yes, like somebody said to me last night, I went dancing and the guy said to me, you look so serious. I always wanted to say hi to you. I said, I always look serious. But he eventually took the plunge and shook my hand and said hi. And I'm like, hi. But people perceive you. And as I say that, what
Yes.
just came to me, what my spirit just said to me is people perceive you, and you mentioned perception. People
Yeah.
perceive you through their own history, their own environment.
Exactly.
So it's not that I'm serious, but he probably is a serious person and he just through his eyes that projection, he's projecting that onto me and think I am serious. I can be serious, but I'm always
Yes.
laughing in my dance class. I'm always bubbly, I'm always whatever. But his perception of me is that somebody else
Hmm.
would have a different perception. So but we cannot take on that. We have to know who we are, find out who we are, just like you're doing, finding out
Hmm.
your purpose, seeking answers, soul searching, looking to be a better version of yourself, connecting with your higher self, so that you can now radiate that type of being and others can see and learn from you.
Yes. Very well said. Yes.
I thank you.
Yes.
So being aligned, like for me, I'm aligned to my
Right.
source. My source would be either my God, people might say God, your source, wherever your energy, your vibration, because we are spiritual beings. So there is a higher source.
Hmm.
There is a higher source. So when we
Yes.
speak of alignment, that's who or what or whatever you're connecting to.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. And but people are afraid of talking about that.
Really?
Well,
Why?
if you mention spirituality, because it goes into soul or it goes into source, and then you go into, then you say the G word, God, and then people kind of step back, right? And
Really? Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, well, I don't know. Especially in the United States, if you talk religion, it's fascinating. I'm like, how can everybody be debating religion?
Oh,
We all come from love,
right?
right?
We all come from love. We all
But
come from
it's
love. Yeah.
yeah, it's the fascinating journey about
Yes.
being human and being on this
Yes.
earth, because we have the ability in our physical bodies to sense things and see through our eyes and
Exactly.
hear in it. But the problem is then it allows us to judge. And
Mm.
so the more fear you have or anger, that judgment's negativity. And but so yeah, you have to be aligned. And if something goes wrong or you feel angry, it's and I call them the amazing A's of awareness. You have to be aware, first of all, of your emotions and thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to, once you're aware and acknowledge it, you can accept it. And I'll speak to my daughter's elementary school and to these kids. So you open the story up, the interview up, talking about kids books and being aligned.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's fascinating is I spoke to my niece's school a couple years ago and my daughter's school, elementary kids, first grade to fourth. And I tell a story about my daughter Jordan, who at the time was in first grade, and she had a spelling test and she got one word wrong, and out of 20. And after school, I asked her how it went, and she was down on herself. She said, I got one word wrong. And I said, really? Well, what was the word? And she said, nutrition. And I said, I can hardly say it, let alone spell it. And you're in first grade. And so she was comparing because her classmate got them all right. So she was upset about that. I said, how could you be upset?
Mm-hmm.
You did really well. And this is where I started to see things differently. I said, well, you were meant to get the word wrong because
Mm-hmm.
nobody look at it. They don't look at it that way. They look at I'm a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said to her, I said, you were meant to get the word wrong. And she looked at me and said, why? I said, because you'll never forget how to spell it ever again. There's a
Again.
lesson there.
Mm-hmm.
But when I spoke to these kids and I shared that story, I said to them, I said, what do you think? Because she got one question wrong. What do you think she was saying to herself mentally?
Oh my God.
And
That she's a
right.
bad
And here's
person. I'm a failure. I'm a this.
exactly.
Oh,
So the
Jesus.
same thing happened in the assemblies, Corinne. I called a little boy 2 rows in the back on the left, and I said, "What did she say?" He said, "I'm bad."
Yeah.
And then another kid said, "I'm stupid." And then I
Stupid.
started tearing up, and the whole
Yeah.
auditorium turned to
For
negativity.
one thing wrong, Tom. For one thing.
Right.
What about the other 99 things that she got
Right.
right? My God.
So then a little girl, right, and a little girl yells out, "I gave it my best." And I said, "That's it." And so I gave it my best. But that's where alignment
Mm-hmm.
is. You've got to be aligned out of the gates and
Out of the gate, yeah.
love your parents and your teachers, but you can also question them, not out of disrespect or anger, but out of curiosity. And you have the right
Of
to
course.
want to be better and learn, because we only know what we know. We know our best, and that's good enough.
And loving
And
ourselves and loving
but
ourselves first, loving ourselves first and foremost, self-worth
yes,
and self-esteem. Tom, I want to hop across to your website, which I have up here now. Let me just share the page. It's a beautiful site. I want people to see it. With your handsome self there.
Thank you.
Yes, let me shift you out of the way. Yeah, this is a lovely site. I looked at it and I'm like, wow, this is really, really well done. Really, really well done.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I love it. It's well organized. All your books are featured.
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, I used to do it myself, and then somebody said, "Yeah, you need someone else to do it for you." So that's because I had somebody help me.
Yeah. Let
Yeah,
go.
it's tomcorner.net. Yep.
Yeah, let go and let somebody else do the stuff. Don't try to think that you could do everything yourself.
Yes.
Yes, this is nice. This is nice. Are you having anything that you're giving away, or you want persons to be able to connect with you?
They can spend time on my website to check out some of the interviews I've done. I would love for them to purchase my book. They're more than happy to I'm more than happy if they want to reach out to me or just connect. But yeah, I'm open to coming out and speaking to schools. If anybody has schools that they want me to come out and speak to, or even business meetings, like I said, it really applies to everybody. I had a great conversation with a business colleague who's an adult, who's like, "Wow, an adult." He said, "Whoa, your book about anger, I get it." And it's just fascinating. Most people just don't know that they can talk about it, and it's okay.
I want people to get in touch with you here, put in their name, email address, and connect with you. We looked at the bookstores, the bookstore, because I saw books on store, the books in the store, so that they can get a copy of your book. Are they all available on Amazon as well?
They are, yeah. So there's those links that
when you click on
take
purchase
you directly to Amazon. Yep.
Okay, fabulous, fabulous.
Yeah.
And of course,
you can check out the cool stuff, because the cool stuff is about the mosh pit of your mind.
How could I leave out the cool stuff? I went everywhere else except the cool stuff.
Right. And it's just affirmations.
This is where it's at. This is where it's at. 86,400 seconds per day.
You owe it to yourself, Corinne. You owe it to yourself to give yourself at least 30 seconds out of over 80,000 seconds a day to be nice to yourself.
That's much.
Where it starts.
That's not much. 30
but a lot of people can't do it.
My God, you can't find 30 seconds to spend on yourself? Come on.
No. Isn't that amazing? People can't do it. So I created this. I'm like, you ever go to a store or something, and they have the flyers up where you pull the tab off?
Yes,
for hire. I said, well, how much would you value your life? This is about the coaching thing. How much would you value your life, right? And people would say, is it worth $100? Like, are you kidding me? I'm worth more than that, but they won't invest $100 for a coach or just affirmations or the right book. And it's interesting in how you look at it. That's a perspective thing.
Wow.
And that's the Moss Prove Your Mind video.
Very good. Very good.
That's another one, yeah.
Yeah, nice. I can see you're very passionate here. So,
yes.
You're very passionate. Of course, I think you have some other things in the store here.
Yeah, it's just a Moss Prove Your Mind shirt. If you want to wear it.
If you want to wear it, Moss Prove Your Mind. The mosh pit of your mind.
Yeah.
This is fabulous. This is fabulous. I like this. You owe it to yourself. I think this is one of the first videos I would encourage persons to look at. And you see, I highlighted this. Take 30 seconds to be nice to yourself. My goodness, 30 seconds.
Right.
I spend more than that a day. And you know what I want to suggest to people, and it's something that I learned from off a YouTube video from somebody that I follow as well. An affirmation. There's an affirmation reminder app that I downloaded.
Yes.
And they give you pre-filled affirmations, but you can also add your own and set it. So like every hour, it pops up as a reminder. You read it. It's very, very good. And there's a thing to tap. You can tap on it so that you keep reinforcing it in your mind and attaching your emotions to it.
And here's something that if people haven't done this before, what they need to do is, most people quit, first of all. They give up because they feel it doesn't work. And I do this. And so when I would say something, an affirmation to myself, I knew I didn't believe it, right? And that's your subconscious saying, no, you don't deserve that. You don't deserve that.
That's the ego.
Because, right? So if you do recite an affirmation, you have to pay attention to how you feel and pay attention to your body. Like when I don't believe it, like I just felt, you don't believe it. I don't believe it. I feel it in my chest and my shoulders. And then sometimes it gets intense. It's in my jaw. I know I don't believe my affirmation and I tap on it. I do EFT tapping too. So I have to tap on it to break it away. But most people don't think it works because their subconscious or ego is saying, no, you don't deserve that. You're a loser.
And you hear it loud. You hear it loud.
Yeah. So you really have to pay attention, but eventually it's gradually, eventually you do it. I'm here because it took me decades to figure it out. I'm still figuring it out, but a coach, my coach, she always says, I'm just holding the focus. That's it. I'm holding the focus. I haven't done anything for you. And it's true, but it's awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
It's great. I mean, Tom, this has been fabulous. I enjoy speaking with you. I enjoy the work that you're doing from Young Minds, which is the place to start. I would even suggest to go younger than the age that you're doing, from in the womb, because that is where everything starts. Epigenetics, how you talk, how you love your child within the womb, and even before that, preparing for that child. If you know you want to have children, preparing yourself, because if you're bringing a child into the world, I have been thinking about this a lot lately. I think we need to have programs, and probably that may be a suggestion to you, programs to help prepare young people, from, I don't know, the age where they can become sexual. They're so sexual early these days, on parenting and what they need to work on themselves before they care for anybody else.
Very true.
They need to care for themselves before they could have responsibility for another human being. So before
we can accept anybody else, we have to accept ourselves.
You need to work on yourself first. So I want to thank you so much for being on Between the Lines and sharing your journey. And as difficult as it may be, it is the most wonderful experience at the end of the tunnel. It's really the most. I mean, I'm excited at life each day, and I'm like, yes, no matter what I struggle with, I'm like, yay, I'm happy to go through that. I'm happy to go through that because I have a different mindset, a different framing of the situation. Is what am I learning? Universe, what are you teaching me? What are you trying to teach me? Why am I still in this? I am open. I am open to you. Show me the lesson I need to learn. So once you're in that frame of mind and willingness and surrender, you're going to learn and you're going to move on and become a stronger person. Any
Yes.
final words? Any final words?
No, just love yourself.
Yeah. Oh,
Love
I mean,
everyone. Just
yeah.
love.
I think that sums everything up. Just love yourself
Yes.
and go with love and just radiate love. It's gonna come
Yes.
back to you.
Yes. It's
Yes.
all around us.
Yes. Thank you so much, Tom. I
Well,
really
thank you.
appreciate it. Kiss your girls, all your
It was an
girls.
honor.
Kiss all your
I will.
girls. You have a blessing there. A lovely
You as
wife.
well.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
You
you.
have a lovely wife and 3 girls. After the situation you shared with me about your wife, it is a blessing. Be thankful.
Yes, it is. It is. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.